Hey guys, today, another day. I think it's been one day between this and last, and I've been at the. I was at the game, game making thing yesterday, and it was fun. I made a very thick amogus, and then I made two guns and a projectile. And then today we're gonna make shooting in the game. It's gonna be like a top-down shooter type style. Um, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make Among Us, or I made Among Us like in the beginning, and then everyone else were also making Among Us because that was like the easiest thing to make because like a capsule with a square. But I was like, before that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make Among Us because I saw everyone were making capsules. So I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna make Amogus in Blender. And I also, one of the first things I did when I came there, I was like searched up I checked if they had Blender on the laptops, and I did, and I was like, yes. And so I was like sitting there. I was trying to like begin with like geometry nodes, because I looked at the like the system things, and they didn't have the right drivers for optics. So I was like, oh fuck, okay, I'm not gonna play around with shader nodes. And also it was a laptop, so it would be very annoying. It would be like a jet engine, I think. um so I'm happy I didn't do that, and I'm happy I did something that I actually could use, uh like an Among Us. And I even rigged it, and I I could animate it, but I didn't know how to well, I think I know somewhat how to make or how to import animations. mm, nah, that's in like Unreal. Maybe it's the NLA strip thingy. Non-linear animation. I literally don't know. Maybe it's something as easy as like play animation, or I don't know. In Unreal, it's so much easier, and since I had worked on like a project for Valve, I or in a project for Valve, we had like the Dota 2 heroes, and we had to like make them um we had to make them animate. And so we took like data mined, and also like characters directly that we got directly from Valve, and we took all of that, and we um and we oh yeah, no, that's what I was doing. I was taking the assets that we got from Valve, and we also got from data mining, um and then we opened it up in Blender, or I opened it up in Blender, and then I took all of the desired NLA strips like attack, taunt, and run, dash, or no, dash wasn't a thing, but death was a thing. And then yeah, all those different things. And oh, it was so annoying because, oh my god, I had to do that for like, I don't know how many heroes they have, like over 100, I think. And they would be like, oh yeah, we just need run, jump, and death. And then they were like, okay, now we want the taunt, and we also want the respawn, and we want all of these other animations that I didn't even realize they had in them, and some of them didn't even have those animations, or they had like this a duplicate of another. And so I was like, oh my god. And so I had to like redo all of the characters at least like 4 or 5 times. And that is, it's not hard, it's just really annoying because it's the same thing over and over. It felt like I could have just set up all of the animations, and that would have been like way better. But I got some, I had remembered some of the systems when I tried making like a small game with one of the music creaturines that I made in Blender. And I I was like, yo, I actually understood this because it sat so like it was setting it was in my subconsciousness. Like I had learned the thing, and then whenever I tried it out, I was like, yeah, I actually understood this now. I had to check up some tutorials, but I was like, yo, okay, now I remember, like halfway through the tutorial, and then I did it, and then I came back to the tutorial, and I did the same thing, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And yeah, that's how I. Is that screw? Why is that screw not? Ah, I think it was too tight or whatever. Okay. Yeah, the feeling that I had when I realized that, oh shit, I hadn't forgotten about everything was like, yo, it just was a pain to, like, I don't know. I tried making it so, oh yeah, I could have done like velocity, if a velocity equals this and that, transition to, yo, I just had that like a moment because they based the transitions on velocity. So when you were walking, the faster you moved, the faster the walk animation played. So whenever I made the walking animation like uh or whenever I made the walking speed like 100, like really fast, it would just like spasm out, and it was so funny. And yeah, and also when I would make the walking animation very slow, it would actually be very slow. It wouldn't actually track very well because my running animation wasn't really like, it was very unserious. It was very cute, but it wasn't like it. I don't know, flailing their arms and legs were just like I don't know. It was very funny. If you've not seen the thing, too bad, I guess. Um, yeah, it's surprisingly fun, and yeah, just making animations and actually using those animations for something is very nice. I'm very tired because I drank like 2 cups of coffee, and whenever I drink coffee, I become very tired the next day. Um, because or usually it takes like a few days before I like 2 or 3 days, and then I'm like dying. But today I might actually just be dehydrated. Actually, ooh, I might be dehydrated because anytime I don't drink enough water, mm, and like I'm thirsty while laying in bed, I'm just like so tired, and I'm like, I just feel like shit. not right now. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe. Right now I just feel tired, not very like too bad. Yeah, and today I think we're going to be making like weapon system. Yeah, because we made the ability to spawn a projectile right before we had to leave, and it doesn't have any physics. It's just like you place a bullet in the air. It doesn't have gravity. It doesn't have nothing, and that is kind of funny, but it's also not as cool. And I made like a um bazooka type thing, like the tube, the old school bazookas. Um, and yeah, my idea is to use that as long as alongside the wacky M4 type looking gun. It's not an M4 because I didn't bother making it look like, well, it looks kind of like an M4 to me, which means that it probably doesn't to most people who cares about guns, because I don't care about guns. I just I don't know. I think they work and they do things, but I'm not really that fascinated about guns. I was fascinated with guns. I don't know. I'm much more fascinated with Blender. I would rather, I don't know. But that being said, I might even make, because now I have like an assault rifle and I have a bazooka, so I could also add in maybe a flamethrower, because then we could have like different types of things. And the funny part is that me making these things is like between the person, like in between the guy who instructs us. Whenever he's talking, I just open a Blender, or Alt Tab into Blender and just start creating. And then whenever it's time to write more code, I just go back to Unity and I'm like, okay, time to write more code. And then whenever we wait for whatever reason, I just open a Blender and do a little bit more tinkering. And then I'm like back to Unity. And then, yeah, I kind of wish it was in Unreal, because I would have more direct usability for whatever I learn, but it's also the abstract thinking that I can learn. But I don't know if I'm learning very much because I'm dual wielding Blender at the same time. Um, because I kind of just like doodle. It's like doodling in class. Like whenever I think I would have more. Oh yeah, that's probably what I should have done, because I realized recently that I can follow along way better when I doodle. Um, and yeah, now I think I understand why people like doodling when they are in class, because it can actually like work. Maybe not for everyone, but for me it works surprisingly well. But Blender is kind of like a different thing. I do hear some of the stuff, but I don't actually make the connections that much. Or if I don't understand it, if it's not like something that I've already understood, I just like use a information anchor or whatever it's called. I don't know the actual name for that stuff. But it's like I I already learned, like if I've already learned something and it's something similar but just with different information, a lot of it can just be like or a lot of it can just be like, oh yeah, it's the same as this but with a different type of way or whatever. Like one one method to do the what I don't know. It's kind of how I can like get better at drawing from learning more about music, and I can get better at music the more I draw or make blender stuff. Like it's because I don't learn the specific. I don't only learn the specific information that's like tied to whatever I'm doing. I'm also learning how to learn. So I'm like learning how does my brain take in this information. Yo, it's the lighting again. Yeah, how does my brain take in this information? How does my brain process it? And how does my what am I doing basically? And then yeah, whenever I do something that requires the kind of same brain activation or whatever, it just gives me an image of something that reminds me of whatever I need to know, and then it's just like, yo, I know it because Eureka, because like my brain showed me an image and now I understand sort of, or it makes sense. It makes more sense than just like someone explaining something to you and you have no image in your head and you're just like, because whenever I don't have an image in my head, it takes so much more energy to understand someone. Like the duality of my brain is like I can understand something really quickly because I get like an image with context in my head about like whatever they're talking about. Sometimes it might be a wrong image, but at least I get an image. And sometimes I don't get an image, and since I'm relying so much on those images, it just feels like I just can't understand, because whenever it doesn't come up, like the image doesn't come up, I'm just like, oh god, no, what is happening? And then I start stressing about like not having the image, and then I can't really focus on, do I understand this? Is this how what does this mean? Like instead of focusing on that, I just focus on, no, I don't understand this, no. And then that doesn't really help, but who cares? Oh, I just remember that I had a dream about like camera lenses having like a breakthrough. Like suddenly they could have like so like quadruple the light input, and you could have like 0.1 f 0.1 or whatever, like 200 millimeter lens, and that isn't even like, that isn't, it's impressive, but it's like, that's, you would have like a micrometer of depth of field, or no, the depth of like in focus, the in focus field or whatever would be like micrometers. um I don't know. It was I just remember a table with three lenses, and they had like huge front elements, and I was like, whoa. um and I looked at the camera lens over there, and I was like, yo, now I remember, because I got the image. Yes, I got the image of the dream. I wouldn't have remembered it if I didn't get the image in my head. And that's kind of how I remember stuff, and how I like know what I'm thinking. If I don't get an image, I'm clueless. If I get an image, I kind of like decipher the image, and then it's like, yeah, okay, this is what I do. And it happens very fast, so like sometimes it can seem like I make like a connection instantly, but I've made like the connection the making of the connection takes a lot of energy, but the reusing of the connection takes so little, like a lot less energy, and that is kind of nice because it's like it's an investment type bit, because the more I spend time on learning different things, the less I have to learn in the future. That's kind of not correct, because you can always learn more. You will never be completely omniscient or whatever. Like, you can always learn more. And if you hate learning because whatever reason, it might not be very easy to learn because you were like, "Ah, I don't want to learn anymore. I'm not in school, so therefore I don't need no more knowledge," which is not really true. Like, if you have the same mindset of me as like, "Oh, I hate school and like I don't learn anything in there," then trying to learn on your own, or trying to learn on your own, can also be really hard because you don't know when you're wrong or when you don't have the complete picture. So it's easy to go like, yeah, okay, I know this stuff because I've watched this other guy explain this to me, and they know stuff. But then you don't realize where the person lacks, or the person you listen to, where they lack knowledge, and so you don't actually know what you'd lack, and you will only think you know, and like Dunning-Kruger and stuff. But if you have a mentor, kind of like I had when I worked at the 3D studio type beat, because they were like the well, I had to learn basically, and I would do dumb mistakes because I didn't know any better. I didn't even know what a normal map was when I started. I didn't even know what a quad was. I didn't even know how to model without booleans. I didn't even know why not, because it was so much simpler. But then the guy was like, "No, we don't have, we don't rape our models in this office." And I'm like, "Bro, what?" And then I don't remember if it told me like then and there how to make quad stuff, or if he tried to explain it and I just didn't understand it, or if I understood it. Maybe I understood it. I don't remember. But it was like I was supposed to make a audio interface type beat, model a audio interface, because um that was oh yeah, that was like the intro thingy, like to show how much I knew. I didn't know fucking anything, but I passed, and they were like, "Yeah, this guy's actually like interested in like learning. He's not just here because he has to or whatever." Like, I was so down to just like spend all my days just like sitting there and doing stuff, and yeah, I was also pretty delusional, so I was doing kind of stupid things. Um, yeah, I don't know. Can you fault autistic man being interested in whatever and not observing external things? I don't know. Yeah, I'm Spider-Man. Do 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 do. Yeah. Now today, oh, I got a kayak in my brain. Maybe I make a kayak. Water game. Oh, you go in a kayak and there's like a whoa. Maybe I can make like a kayak game where you like shoot the rocks and stuff. Now that's probably gonna be wait. You're probably gonna have like a spawning feature if I just give them a constant flow rate and they don't shoot back. Because you would, oh, if I make a tree stem shoot back. Yo, okay. Well, because we made like a little top-down shooter where it's basically at like Minecraft dungeon level right now. We could like sell it tomorrow. No, today we're done. I'm gonna be there at 12, and it's now 10, 5 minutes until 10. It takes me 25 minutes to end up there, so I probably should go and get like dressed and stuff or showered. Cause oh yeah, I don't know if it was because I like took a very huge shit yesterday, or if it was for other reasons. But I just felt like I smelled like shit, and I was like, oh no, I smell like shit. But then I was like, wait, this is my nose hairs like has the smell of shit, um, like seeped into my nose hair, and now I'm like smelling my shit because it's like in my nose hairs. Because that was like before I had showered, and then after I'd showered, why would I smell like shit? And so whenever I moved, I was like, okay, it doesn't smell like shit. So I was like, okay, maybe I smell like shit, but maybe it's someone else around me, or maybe my nostrils are just like coated in a thick sludge or whatever. Um, or maybe I just smelled like shit. Maybe I just shat myself or something, but I don't think so because I went to the toilet and there was no shit in my ass. So I don't know. Maybe I just hallucinated it, but I don't think so because it smelled like shit, and I don't know. So I was kind of sitting there like, oh no, I smell like absolute ass, and like poor guy sitting next to me had to like live with that, and I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I was actually like contemplating like asking like, hey dude, do I smell like shit? But then I was like, wait, if he smells like shit, if it is him that smells like shit, maybe he would think like, oh shit, no, he can actually smell it. And then I'm like, no, that's not what I meant, bro. And then yeah, I don't know, I would maybe get more stressed. I don't know. I I sometimes just like start smelling like shit. Like I just smell the smell of poopy whenever I sit still or whatever, like when I'm stressed or whatever, and I'm just like, bro, did I fucking shit? Because it doesn't smell like farts. It just smells like absolute, like literal shit. It doesn't smell like farts. It just smells like someone took a shit onto a plate and just put it up to my nose. Um, and it's kind of annoying because like people say like, or some people have said like, no, you smell like really good, and I'm like, no, but do you not smell the shit? And they're like, no, what do you mean? And I'm like, bro, what? Maybe because I've got like really sensitive nostrils, and if my nostril hairs actually do um like soak up shit smell, maybe that's the reason why it happens. I made the connection like yesterday between like my nostril hairs getting coated in like shit fumes, and I don't know. It made kind of sense because every time that I've felt like, oh shit, I smell like ass, or not ass, but shit. It's a big different smell. I don't know why. I don't know why it is a different smell. Uh, but oh, funny. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Anytime I've had like those smells, it's been like right after I've sat on the toilet and took a huge shit, and then I've like showered afterwards. So maybe it's because of that. Because um I have sat on the toilet with a sweater on and like played Balatro. And whenever I play Balatro, I tab out for like an hour or something. And if I haven't like flushed the toilet because I'm disgusting or whatever, and so the shit smell seeps into the clothing, and then whenever I'm done, it's just like, oh no, it smells like shit from my clothes. And so it's probably possible, it's highly likely that it actually is the singeing of my nose hairs and stuff like that. Because it if it was like shit, I think it would have stayed after we had eaten pizza, because we did eat pizza. Uh, and after I'd eaten pizza and like smelt the pizza, there were no shit smells anymore. So it might literally have been that the shit became my nostril hairs, and then I smelt that from the nostril hairs. I don't know. It was just like something I realized because I was like thinking, okay, maybe I just hallucinated, but no, I don't. No, I don't really smell any other things. Like I don't hallucinate any other things because I was learning about like um psychosis stuff, and they said like, oh yeah, you can get like olfactory hallucinations, like smell hallucinations, and like, oh shit, maybe that's why I sometimes smell like shit. But I failed to recognize that I was most of the times when that happens, I've been like sitting on the toilet for like at least 10 minutes after I've shat, just like looking at my phone or whatever. And, like it's not, it rarely happens whenever I have like a small shit. It always happens when you have like those huge shits, when you've eaten like, I don't know how what I've eaten, but like some kind of demon, I guess, because it's just negative mass and just like it's just like a fluid simulation where it's just like the inflow thingy is just way too massive, and you're just like shitting for hours and just like filling the bowl, and whenever you're done, it's like, oh shit, I gotta fucking scrub this thing down, I gotta fucking stab this thing, or else it will fucking encapsulate my entire being. And I'm like, no. And then whenever like I'm done, it just smells like shit over everywhere, like it just stinks. And if I don't shower after that, I smell like shit for the rest of the day. So it likely is my nostrils like keeping that smell. But I don't know. That's just a theory. Fecal theory. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. The body is kind of weird because sometimes it's like really disgusting, and sometimes it's really disgusting but with flair. Um, and sometimes it's just disgusting. Um, I don't know. Maybe I should make a melee weapon. Ooh, yeah, I should make like a bat. That would be very easy though. Maybe I should make like an axe. Oh, I could chop down the. Whoa. Okay, I had like an idea about like a chopping game, like a wood chopping game, where you basically run around chopping wood in like the style of um what's it called, Stardew Valley, and then you like process it, and that's like a um mini game type bit where you click like there's like a slidey, like back and forth thingy, uh, where you like have to click in the middle and it changes speed every now and then. Um, and so it's kind of skill based, but also kind of just like, I don't know. It's, yeah, and the more centered you get it, the better the cut, and the better you, or the more you earn, and then uh yeah. I also had like the idea that like in the night, whenever you've like uh given the wood to the truck that then moves the things, um you enter like a either a nightmare mode or like an alternative like dream state or whatever. And then what was it? It was something about either, oh yeah, like a tower defense game where you have like balloons to the 5 or whatever, and you like defend your lumber mill from waves of trees, and then you have like different trees, like different types of trees or like woodland thingies. And yeah, it's way too ambitious. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this in the game thingy. But then I was then I also had the thought like, yeah, we're probably not gonna be able to make our own ideas because it's a course. He's gonna teach us like how to do a specific thing, and I was happy that I had that idea of, or that I had that thought of like, oh yeah, it's probably gonna not be our own game, because I would have been so disappointed if I didn't think about that and was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this. Wow, I'm now a professional game maker, and stuff like that. Because it was actually fun, mostly because I was modeling in Blender. Like 70% of the time that I spent was in Blender, and then the 25% was whenever I had to write code. Um, and they were explaining stuff, and I was kind of listening, but a lot of stuff I've already listened to through YouTube videos. And so, like, one of the things he was like talking about why my character was moving through the wall whenever it was walking too fast, and I was like, yeah, it's like the segments where it like checks how far ahead is that guy, and like if it is inside the wall, then no, you cannot go further. But if it's like too fast and the segment is bigger than the wall, and so you're like on the opposite side of the wall, you just quantum tunnel through. And like I was letting him like explain it, because he did he might have found it more better, or found it nice to like explain it, like have some, yeah, I was down to give him some satisfaction from explaining something to me, because yeah, he was a cool guy. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, nah, I've watched that on YouTube, because maybe some of the other people there, because there were some people who had no experience, I think. And so me being the example of like, I don't know, maybe some of them understood it, or learned what he was talking about. I already I already watched like a ton of videos about it in like a different context, or the same context but like a different time. And I also got like the images from those videos while he was talking, so I was like, yeah, this makes sense. But I didn't want to like say, no, I don't care, I already know this. And like, because if he had said something that I didn't already know, then I would be like, I would have been left out on like information that I hadn't already known. So just because I know something, or just because I think I know something, doesn't mean I should not should never listen to anyone who has more experience explain the things that I think I know, because sometimes you will have a different explanation for the same thing and you will actually understand it better. And that was not that it was kind of on my mind when he was talking, like, yeah, maybe I learned something new, but it was also like, yeah, it's kind of, he probably gets something out of like explaining it. And yeah, I was down to listen because yeah. um but I was also like chatting with him on the way to the bus, so like we were basically going to the same place. So we were just walking and talking about uh like luck and stuff, like how luck is kind of, you make your own luck by being or putting yourself in situations where you're likely to meet different types of people. Like, for example, some people might think like, oh, I could never, I would need to know this person with this and this stuff, and like, oh, I don't know people like that, and so therefore I'm not gonna end up that lucky because I don't think I'm not that lucky. But then, because you think that, or because you don't put yourself in that situation, you don't expose yourself to the chance of an event like that happening. And so your luck is a lot lower because you can't get lucky if you're not there, basically. You won't be lucky if you aren't in a position where you can achieve luck or whatever. Because you could also be at the same place at some like as somebody else, but um you could also like be not present, like very like not interested in being like then and there, like just thinking like, oh, this is so boring, this is, I want to go home and like do whatever. And then that person who you might, or the type of person you might want to attract to get like more luck, um is like put off, like, oh, that person doesn't even care, okay, I'm not gonna talk with that person. But if you're like, oh yeah, I'm so interested in this stuff, and like actually show that you're interested, not just like talking out your ass and like, oh yeah, I'm so interested, I swear, and like, I only talk to you because you have connection and I want connection, and therefore you are important enough for me to talk to. Like, if you're doing that, then eventually you will like, someone will understand like, okay, this guy does not care about anything other than rising above. And I sometimes feel like I give off that vibe, but I also have realized like, yeah, because I'm autistic, I have a harder time like knowing what to say and what to do and what is acceptable. And I realized like yesterday, I was kind of like, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like make everything about me and like talk too much about my the stuff that I've made. But I showed him the stuff that I've made, like some of the characters, like non-safe for work, safe for work, and like different things I've done, things I've worked on, and stuff like that. And he was very impressed. That was very nice. And he also like started talking about his experience and like stuff like that, like how their lead animator was like nominated for some, like the Oscar equivalent of animation or whatever, but then they lost to a, like, I don't remember, like I don't remember who it was, but he was like, "Oh yeah, this is so yeah," because I was talking about like how we lost the Emmys, the two Emmys that we had been nominated for when we made like the Dota 2, the Internationals 11 stuff, like all the graphics, the virtual production, like the big like cathedral, and like the characters down onto the stage. There were some points in the live stream where like the the virtual production cut into the image, so people would become like uh they would be like walking on top of a stage, and then they would just become legs because the virtual production wasn't set up so we could have like people in front of the virtual effects. But luckily it was like over the audience, or like the the stadium walls, like at the top of the stadium walls, was like this huge cathedral walls, and like these huge windows, and like the heroes came crashing through, and people, we were watching when it was happening live, and people like streamers and stuff were like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" And I was just sitting there like, "No, it's not that cool, bro. Like the Mandalorian has so much better stuff, and a lot of like people using LED stuff, like LED backdrops. Oh, it's so much cooler." Um, and the place where I'm at, I think, uses some virtual production stuff, so maybe I get to use my virtual production knowledge. Even though I don't really have that much of it, I might have some stuff that just comes back as images, like I explained earlier. Um, and yeah, I hope I get to use that knowledge. Maybe I'm a resource. Maybe I learn. Um, yeah, also a lot of. Oh yeah, I met the brother, the older brother to a guy I went to school with in like middle school. Um, and he looked so much like him, and I was like, "Bro, it's so him." And I went up to him and asked, like, "Are you this guy?" And I'm like, "Nah," and he was like, "No, I'm actually this guy, and he's my brother." And I'm like, "Yo, you look so much like him." And yeah, I don't know. And then we chatted. He also made some cool models. He made like the Star Wars clone trooper armor uh, in Unity with like blocks, like primitive shapes, like layered, like all of those on top of each other, uh, which was dedication. I also showed him my Amogus, my thick, juicy Amogus. I should probably give it tits because that would be funny. Um, Maybe even like jiggle physics. I think it might just be like putting the jiggle physics onto the like a wiggle bone, and then putting it into Unreal, no, Unity. Maybe not, but it's probably like a script or whatever to make it jiggle. I don't know. It's probably not right. But anyway, um, I showed him the Amogus, and he was like, "Yo, that's pretty cool." And yeah, even the guy, the the guy who held the course, he was like, "Sheesh," when he like came over and looked. That was in the beginning of the course when I had just made like the cube, no, the capsule, and I had just made it like give it legs, and I had made it like pyrocynical style. Um, yeah, and yeah, I just made it more and more or I improved the topology and stuff so I could rig it and have like better deformation, because I didn't have like a crotch loop, and so the crotch would just like get stretched super far and stuff like that. And then I did make a crotch loop, and then everything just looked much better. And then I also gave it knee pads, like the topology to give it knees, basically. And that also helped with deformation. I also tried making like an ass topology so that ass would deform better, but I just didn't bother. And I even put on like IK bones and stuff so I could like use it, and I made the gun like toggleable as like a child of the hand bone, so it actually held the gun. I could have made it so, yeah, I could have made it so the grip would hold on to the hand, because I've done that with pistons, because then it would just point to the other bone. Yeah, I would need to put a bone into the gun, I guess, and then I would have like one bone from the handle to the front grip, and then it would like point to the hand bone, or I could even make an extra bone for the hand that's like for the item. And then I would be able to like make it so it looks like it's holding the weapon instead of just like not holding the weapon, I guess. It was actually very fun to like rig it, because the arms would need to be like turned off, or the deformation on the arms would need to be turned off. And yeah, wait, why did I even make arms? Like I could just have like a bone, I guess, to make it so it couldn't like stretch too far, because I made like IK arm rig, but I didn't give it arms, I just gave it hands. I don't know, maybe there was like a reason, or maybe there wasn't a reason, maybe I just did it because why not. But anyway, that's kind of just what I did. And we also had pizza, but I only got like 2 slices because I was pissing and shitting. No, I wasn't shitting, I was just pissing. And yeah, when I got back, they were like, okay, this is because we had like bought 3 pizzas, and we were like 10 or 12 people, and so I think there were 8 slices in each, so that's like 12. Wait, no, that wouldn't make sense. 8, yeah, 12. 8 plus 8 is 16. Oh, I thought, bruh, no, 6 plus 6 is 12. Okay, yeah, because I was like, 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 12. Like, what? No. 4 plus 8 is 12. Bruh, my math skills, impeccable. I'm better at math than my mathematician friend. That might actually be true, but I don't. I'm not better at, because basic math. He has told me that every mathematician sucks at basic math because they don't use basic math. They use like the like the different, like, like pi and like the lambda or whatever, like those like mathematician stuff. I've watched Veritasium and like a whole bunch of like math videos and stuff. I know that I'm not learning anything because I can't name a single math equation thingy or math function or whatever, other than those like two things that I mentioned. So I know that I'm not learning anything. It's kind of like Kurzgesagt videos where it's just education, nay, just entertainment, and like they tell you stuff, but it's like, yo, it's so well made, it's so cool, so pretty, and like I forget all of the. I don't even listen to what it is. It's just like, whoa, that's the size comparison is so cool. Like, wow, that is so much huger than our sun. And then I'm like, the sun in the sky is so tiny, so it would be like, I don't know how much. And then it's like, the size of the sun is so much larger than our planet, and like, I don't know, I find Bergen to be very tiny or whatever. Nah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of, the scale changes depending on how fast you go. So when you're like on a bus, the scale of Bergen is super tiny, but if you walk, it can take like 2 hours to get from 1 hour, no, from one place. Because I've walked home from like the Centrum, and it takes me like 40 minutes to an hour. It depends. Sometimes I've been like incredibly drunk, like puked all over the office, and then I have to walk home at like 3 a.m. because I didn't check the time or whatever. And yeah, it's kind of nice, kind of not nice. I was also kind of like, oh yeah, I puked onto the floor once, and it cost the company like $1,000 for the carpet cleaner guy to do it, and I was like, no. And I was like actually puking into the sink, and I didn't know that was not the play, because the office manager were like, the office manager guy was like, yeah, if you're gonna puke, you should do it in a trash bag, because then we can just take it away, and we don't need to wash the trash bag, or you should go into the toilet because that can actually flush. And I don't know, he was a very chill guy. um the only time I didn't or the only times I was like, oh no, he's not chill anymore, was when I was like extremely stressed, and like he was on like his second father leave type bit, whenever I would just like have like three other people in the office, because then I was like, no, they're trying to get rid of me, they're trying to set me up, no, they're trying to get me to want to leave and then quit and whatever. And then, yeah, I don't know, I was delusional and shit, like way too stressed out, because I had like learned like, oh no, need to learn 40 new things in the span of like 6 months or whatever, 6 to 5 months. And like, bro, I don't know how to do this. Panicked, and then yeah, everything just went downhill, and yeah, didn't touch Blender for half a year. I already said that in an earlier episode, but yeah, I don't know. Oh, whew. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to, well, when I get, I would be cool if I could manage to make like a switch gun thingy, like where I could switch between an explosive like area of attack or area of effect type beat. Maybe it could be like a booster thingy that I pick up, and then like, oh yeah, now I have this other weapon for a few seconds, and then I can kill more enemies and like more higher score and stuff, or maybe like multipliers and stuff. Multiplier. Hello everybody, my name is Welcome. Yeah, but now I have to go and take a shit, and it's already 1 hour into the video. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go and take a shit, because now I have 2 hours until I have to go to the bus, and therefore I need that amount of time, because I'm gonna take a huge shit. Like the shit that I'm brewing up right now, damn. Yeah, it's starting to hurt. It's actually like starting to feel like liquid is forming inside my asshole, and therefore I'm gonna go. So yeah, take care, brush your hair, and I see you when I see ya. Peace.